Well, hey, we are live. I'm waiting to hear back from Miss Sue Lucas. If you're there, we're waiting for you. But either way, we're going to be great. Looking forward to this Quick Fire Friday. What are we? June the 12th. It's going to start right now, and we're going to go on through till usually about quarter after, 20 after, usually 15 or 20 minutes. We certainly can stay longer if there's lots of questions or engagement. And if you're watching this recording, well, we're glad you're here too. So this one's going to be all about, and let me read the title here, the 4 marketing must-dos of real estate's top producers online. So basically, this is just kind of a culmination of some of the key things that top lead generation real estate agents are using to help drive traffic to their websites, blogs, etc., to generate new buyers and sellers. So that's what we're going to kind of share, kind of a high-level view. We're not going to get into a whole bunch of detail, but if during the conversation you decide, looks like I see Miss Sue coming in. There she is. Yay, Miss Sue.
I was in another conference, and I was like trying to get off of that. So here I is.
Well, welcome, welcome. I was just doing a quick intro and explaining what we were going to chat about today, and letting anybody that may be watching the recording when they're watching this, that if they have any questions on and want more detail on any of the particular things that we may be covering, to go ahead and add them in as a comment at the bottom, or on the YouTube channel, or on our Facebook pages, wherever they'd like. So I think there's links to all of that, both on the website and on the YouTube channel. So whichever suits your fancy, whatever way you like to communicate, let us know. So I was just telling the title of what we're going to talk about today, the 4 marketing must-dos of online real estate agents, sort of the top producers. And we're just going to give kind of an overview, sort of the higher level viewpoint of that. We weren't going to dig into like tremendous detail, but we'd cover a little bit. So
Okay, well, I have a question for you. After thinking about this, when we knew the topic, I was going to say, if you had an agent that said to you, Pierre, I really can't do everything, what is the one thing that I need to do that'll generate the most bang for my buck?
Free or paid?
Doesn't matter. What's the best thing
Okay. Well, if you're going to pay, well, I would then go paid. And I would say, if you know how to do it, I would say Facebook advertising to drive both traffic to your website and to generate leads.
Okay.
That'd be my answer. There's a more, I mean, it's a big question, but I'm totally comfortable with that answer.
Right. And that's one of the questions I get asked a lot.
Yeah.
Well, what do you recommend I do? And I'm like, oh my gosh, well, you kind of have to, to me, you have to do a little bit of everything. So you brand yourself out there. So,
right.
But that was the question that was posed to me, and I was stumped. I'm like, oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
if I only could do one thing, what would I do? I don't know. But I was tending to think Facebook, but I didn't want to say that because it's like there's so many other things out there too. So
yeah, I mean, I've answered that question differently over the years. And there's some close runners, and depending on that, the individual that we're talking about and their skill set, the answer might change. But if I had to just do a generic one, I'd be very comfortable saying Facebook lead generation.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, using ads. You're gonna love the recording when you see yourself on the recording. One of the unique things of the place that you're located right now, depending on how far back or forward you sit in your chair,
the
shoes? 2 little red things that are in the back, the shoes that are in the back picture. The first time when you popped on the screen, it looked like you had little red ears sticking above your head.
Okay.
No, it's all good. It's awesome. But I think you'll have a little chuckle like I did when I first saw it. It looked like you're a little rabbit.
There you go.
So, well, here, let's jump on in. I made a quick little slide to kind of cover sort of the details of it.
Let's see
why
if
don't
it
I?
works this time.
Yeah,
We're
why don't I
great.
share it and hopefully you can see it too. But if not,
Well,
I'll just.
you're not pixelated this time, so that's a
Well,
good sign.
hopefully we've got a good connection here, so we'll find out. The funny thing is, sometimes you can't see me yet the recording's perfect, so
I
I don't
know.
get it.
That's
But
amazing. Yeah.
I don't get technology sometimes. It's kind of strange. But anyway, let me share the
Uh-huh.
PowerPoint here and see if you can see it. Any luck?
Yay. Wow.
You saw
Awesome.
it. Oh,
I
yay!
did.
I'm so shocked
Yay.
because I'm so shocked we weren't able to see it the last couple times. Can you see it still now?
Yep. You might want to make it a little bit bigger.
Okay, 1 second. How's that?
I'm still seeing the same screen, so just keep going. Maybe it,
All right. Well, basically, this is just kind of the introduction. Here's some of the detail.
right.
Can you read that?
I see blog your heart out.
Blog your
Yep.
heart out.
Yep.
Social media, kind of 4 points there. Get some traction. Be lovable. Point number 3, at least likable.
There you
And
go.
number 4, at minimum, interesting and helpful.
Right. Let's just stop at the social media part for a minute.
Sure.
One thing that I still see agents doing out here, and especially locally, is that they still have not created a business page. They're using their personal profile to do their business on. And I know you talk about that at your classes. So I just want to pump that up that, they really need to get off of that and get onto a build up profile, a business page,
Yeah,
and do that.
absolutely. I agree. I mean, I think it's great to have your personal profile, and it's absolutely okay to communicate with clients and people on a personal level, especially
Right.
if you're comfortable with it. But you should do most of your, obviously, for example, you can't run ads without a Facebook business page. For lots of reasons, plus, technically by the terms of service, you should be running all your business related stuff on an actual page. And I believe there's a lot of continuity and synergy between those two pages if you know what you're doing. So I would say definite to that. A lot of people, on the social media side of it, I get questions like, well, what the heck should I put up there? And, I post stuff and no one ever, it's like a ghost town, it's like, I was watching a Happy Grasshopper presentation yesterday, so I got the word zombie stuck in my head right now, but and I think we've all experienced it where you present some content, you put it on your page or even on your website or blog for that matter, and it's crickets, right? I mean, there's nobody doing anything. You feel like you're putting in all this effort, nothing's happening. Well,
Right.
that's not unusual initially, but here are some tips, I guess, on content that usually get some engagement. And, I think, one, you got to have a focus. I can't tell you how many times I keep saying this, Miss Sue, in almost every class. People are just spraying stuff on every conceivable topic. It's like you don't even know that they're in real estate sometimes because they're talking about everything but real estate. I'm not saying not to talk about not real estate, but you got to have at least a niche or a focus. So all of what you're sharing has a purpose, around an idea or an audience. Because if your audience is everybody, it's not going to be interesting.
Exactly.
I know everybody on Facebook always talks about, well, there's over 1 billion people. Well, yeah, but you're not going to attract 1 billion of them. I mean, you would be ecstatically happy if you got 100 of them, or 500 of them. So think of an audience, and an audience could be everything from a niche, and a niche. Here's some examples. And a niche could be I'm going to focus on a neighborhood or a community and talk about real estate and the things to do in that community, great restaurants and all that kind of stuff, the market values. I mean, so you can do a little bit of real estate and a little bit of fun and to-dos and all that stuff. Another type of niche can be a type of property that you focus on. You could be focused on, in Myrtle Beach, for example, condos. There's so many of them. You could be a waterfront condo expert.
Right. I was just going to oceanfront, or you could be waterway, or you could be on the river. There's so many different focus things you get to deal with.
Absolutely. And then, you know, so I think those are key. And then within those things, besides the examples we just shared, I would say, you know, answering common questions that you get. You're getting asked those questions because that's what people want to know about. Well, if that's the case, it would behoove you to answer
Right.
them in a, you know, create an article for your blog that asks the question. That would be the title, and then answer the question perfectly one time, and then have that share on your website, and then share that out to your social channels, bookmark
Exactly.
it in the social bookmarking channels, etc. And then if you want to get extra fancy, record a video asking the question and recording the answer, so you have it kind of covered in more than one way. Because some people like to read. Me,
Hmm.
I'm okay with reading, but most people prefer listening
Video.
and looking. You know, just
That
kind of
that's what
absorbing it in.
yep, that's what I
Um,
was going to say is that for the agents that are asking questions like that about how come I'm not getting activity on anything I'm putting, you need to switch what you're doing then,
yeah,
because you need to, and video is the way to go. I know myself when I post video, I do a number of different Facebook pages, but for instance, if I do something on my business page or on another private page I know video always trumps text, always.
I would totally support that. I can think of very few examples
Yeah.
where that isn't the case by the data. So
And we all have Android or the iPhone with the video camera on there. It is so easy to press the button. I mean, I'm doing things now when I'm on the road. I'm doing traffic reports.
yeah, I saw some of those, you know, but I will tell you, 50 where you live,
Yeah,
I always thank God I don't live down in that area, because 501, when the summer hits, it's
yeah,
a
it's
zoo.
bad.
But
So
I
that's
can
what I
tell you for
started
the
doing. I'm doing 501, 544
yeah, but I
traffic
can tell you for the
updates.
person that lives in that area, I'd start watching you just to go, okay,
Yeah,
can I leave now, or is this should I stay in the house?
that's right. So you can have fun with what you do. So it's just not all
Absolutely.
about, it's not just about real estate. You know, if people are going out to breakfast and lunch, you know, take a video of here's the restaurant I'm eating, this is what I'm eating, this is near the ocean, or this is why I love eating here because of blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's so many great things you could do on video. It doesn't have to be about here's a house for sale, you know.
Absolutely.
It's nice about
Absolutely.
the house for sale, but you got to sell the area too. So,
I totally agree with you, Sue. I think you're spot on. And you know, I think that a couple of other things that can tie into that is you got to know your audience. If you don't know, if you don't define an audience that you're going to try and attract, number one. Number two is
mhm.
you got to start learning what they like. And you just answered a big thing. Like if what you're posting isn't getting you any response, well, you either don't have any definition of an audience, problem one, or problem two is change what you're doing. If it's not
Mhm.
attracting your audience, you don't understand your audience very well. And
Right.
one way to learn what your audience is start asking them questions. Ask them, what is it that I can help you? What is it you'd like to see or learn about this area? Do one question surveys. You know, you see a lot of social media
Mhm.
where it's kind of like share your thing on this, and or what do you like about this or this,
Right.
or yes no type questions, real
Right.
simple things. And once you start learning what your audience wants, give it to them. They'll
Mhm.
absorb it. They told you they want it. They'll like it. They'll start sharing it, etc. So I
And it
think
could
those
be
are some.
it could be as simple too. Not like I said, not always be in the real estate question. It could be as simple as beach or pool today. I asked that question a
Yep.
couple of times. I always get wide range of responses, but that's what you want. It's a fun thing to interact with people.
Yeah. Well, you just actually hit on one of the things I wrote in my notes here. You know, it is social media. You got to
Mhm.
be social. You actually have to be
Exactly.
friendly, likable. You do have to engage people. You know, you can't just
Right.
sit there and promote and expect people to just love your stuff. That just doesn't work that way. So,
Right.
well, cool. Well, hey, just looking at the clock, probably just quickly move through the other two
Okay,
items
go
real
ahead.
fast here. Focus on communities, neighborhoods, and subdivisions. Any one of those three, or however you define it, where you're at. I think that gives you a focus personally. But having those types of pages on your website, and then sharing that kind of content via email, like having an email list for people who are interested in XYZ community, having another email list for people who are interested in this neighborhood, etc., and then giving them information about that specific area, they're going to eat
Mhm.
that up. And I
Mhm.
can tell you there's very few people that I'm even seeing that do anything close to that. But I will tell you, for the consumer who says, you know, I'll just use uh, Carolina Forest as an example. Very popular community here in the Myrtle Beach area. Well, if there are some people that's the only place they want to live, you know, for whatever reason, they like the schools, etc. I mean, I've heard all different reasons for it, but if that's the case and that's your focus, man, you should be giving them nothing but information that
Exactly.
ties to that neighborhood, and versus the other people who are sending them stuff that's just so random. They'll start going, hey, if I want to know something about the area, you know, Sue's the one sending it to me. I don't have to read, you know, 8 other emails about stuff I have no interest in. So that's just an example there. And then have a content strategy. And you know, kind of what I mean there is you got to be consistent. No matter what arena you decide to start sharing content in, you've got to be consistent, and you've got to do it on a regular basis.
Exactly. You need to follow a schedule. I mean, that's what I do. I have it on a schedule. When am I going to post? Well, with Facebook, you can, like I said, I've always said this. I schedule all my things on a Sunday, because you can do scheduled posts on Facebook, which is, I think, a great time saver. So it's not like I'm sitting there every day doing 2 and 3 or 4 posts. I've done it on Sunday, because I said, okay, I'm going to post this then. You know, I'm going to post my listing here. So people need to know and use that as a big marketing.
I absolutely agree. And I think that I get asked all the time, well, how often should I do this? How often should I do this? And these things kind of change a little bit. But some of the good news is that the quality of your content is more important than the quantity of your content. So I think if you can put out an article, I'm going to say this is, if you can put out one a day that's awesome quality, and you have the resources or the means to have a person, you can hire it out or do whatever, however you would do that. If it's all going to be on you, whatever you can handle properly. But I would say on a minimum, I would post nothing less than probably twice a month. And these things don't have to be books. They can be 300-400 word article description writing, and a couple of awesome photos, and then I would record the exact same thing you just wrote in a video and have that all in the same place, and pull all that information from YouTube or wherever you're posting your video, Vimeo, etc. And that, having, you know, 2 of those minimum to everywhere up to, if you can do as many as 1 a day, you know, great. But just focus on the quality versus the quantity. But if you cannot support at least 2 of these a month in that particular arena, I would say you're not ready to even jump in yet, because you know, if you're not, I mean, you know, it's just not going to be enough content being shared to really keep your audience engaged, in my opinion.
Right. Okay, cool. We are at almost 20 after the hour, so I think we're right on line there. But yeah, great tips, Pierre. As always, I think it's great information. Again, social media and all that is still very part of the day-to-day business of a realtor, and anybody doing business needs to be out there. But I do think the main points are: do it. Like we always said, think video. Again, we're going to push video for the rest of this year, trying to get some more agents to do some fun videos. For those of you watching, if you have a video you've done, send it to Pierre and I, and let's get it out there. We'll post it for you, and take a look at it. So how about that?
Sounds good. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, cool.
And if you guys have any interest in particular topics, I do get some stuff already, but we'd love to hear some more ideas on topics that, I guess, if we're going to suggest it, we should ask it. If you're watching this video live and or recorded, please let us know topics you would love us to cover, and we will cover it in future QFFs. So,
and don't forget, on Tuesday the 16th, we will be live. Pierre and I will be live at CCAR, Coastal Carolina Association of Realtors, doing our 1-hour happy hour, sharing the new apps that are out there. So that's from 11 to 12. So Pierre, I'm looking forward to seeing you in person.
That's right. Well, I am too. Thank you for sharing that. I not that I'd forgotten, but I'd forgotten. So perfect. Well, Miss Sue, as always, it's wonderful working with you, and thank you for sharing all your ideas as well. And for everybody here and or watching the recording, thank you, and we look forward to next week's QFF, Friday, 12 noon Eastern.
Yep, we'll see you then. Pierre, have a great weekend.
Thank you, you too, Miss
Okay.
Sue. Bye now.
Bye-bye.